What's going on, everybody? What's up? How are you? This is Angelique. I am so pumped. Y'all don't even understand. Today is my 44th birthday. Y'all ain't ready? Y'all ain't even close to ready. You hear me? I'm so excited. So, hello to all my courageous queens, to all my courageous kings. Welcome to my podcast. It is weekly. It is called Silent No More. It's my weekly podcast about domestic violence awareness and action. So not just talk about it, we got to do some things about it. I am so happy to be here. Y'all don't understand what I got coming up next. You don't even know. You don't even know. All right. So I'm Angelique. I am the founder of Ladder Masters Inspirational Leadership Group, better known as Ladder Masters. And I have a very special show tonight. I am a survivor of domestic violence. If you didn't know, you must have been living under a rock at this point. Like I'm telling everybody, but I am an advocate of freedom and truth. That is extremely important to me. We have to talk about this. We have to bring this message forward. We have to make sure people really understand why it's so pervasive, how you get caught up in it, and what it really takes for someone to escape, to be a survivor, to move forward and live on. But I got a few things to say. I got a lot to talk about, but I'm not doing it by myself this week. Oh, no. You don't even know. Y'all know who's on this show? Have you seen the flyer? You've been watching Facebook? You've been on LinkedIn? Get ready. There's a few people that I'm about to introduce y'all to tonight. They're in the background. They're ready. They are my girls. Y'all want to see them? Just for like 2 seconds. Y'all want to see them? Y'all ready? Check them out. Boom! Hey! Hey, y'all. All right, listen. Don't get love on too much. They coming back in just a second. All right, so here's the thing. I've got a lot to talk about today. This is my 44th birthday episode, and it's a special one. I've got my girls here for a reason, or as Veronica would say, my ladies, my women. I got them here for a reason. This is special because a lot of times we don't really think about how important our network is, how important our circle is, and we forget about it sometimes. Trust me, I personally know what that's like. I know what it's like to get detached from the people, the women, the ladies who helped me grow up and become who I am today because I got lost in a situation. We get lost in situations. I don't like it, but it happened to me. So listen, I don't know where you are or what you're doing, but what I will ask you to do is stop right now, look at the screen and hit that share button. It's SHARE. Hit that share button. I know you're part of a group somewhere. I know there's somebody you're thinking about tonight that should be on this episode, that should watch. Type them in, tag them in this thing. Make sure as many people as you possibly can think of are a part of this. All right. So we're going to get started. I'm going to do something that is very important to me. So I'm going to bring my ladies back right now. Very important to me. I do it every single show. If I miss it, my friend Tanara lets me know. So I say a prayer because I believe it's important to let God into these moments because we talk, but we still got to be under his spirit when we talk. So I'm going to say a quick prayer. We're going to all bow our heads before I go any further. Y'all ready? All right. So God, I come before you right now, just thanking you for today. It is a celebration, but it's a celebration on so many levels. Celebrating life, celebrating truth, celebrating freedom, celebrating just that rise from what felt like the bottom, what felt like the valley. God, I thank you that rise to the top of the mountain and still climbing, because you know what? After this mountain is another one to climb and rise to the top, and yet another one to climb and rise to the top. So I just thank you for this day, for these ladies on here with me, God. You have shown me so much of who you are in my life in ways that I would have never imagined. So I just thank you for every tear that's been cried, every shout of joy, every struggle, every triumph, every person that did whatever to help me get to where I am today. Because it's been quite a journey, sometimes a fight, but at the end of the day, God, I know you've been there and you've helped me to know that through people like these beautiful ladies on this call with me today. So God, I ask that you just come into this moment, to the victims, to the survivors of domestic violence. God, I ask you to reach into their lives, reach into their situation, make it better, turn it around, give them the real vision of who you are. Because if they can see themselves through you, they will know that the situation they're in ain't right. No way, shape, or form. So God, I thank you for who you are. I thank you for where you're taking me. I thank you for the lives of these women on the call with me today. All these things I pray and say in full faith in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. All right. Listen, I already said it. I already got tears in my eyes. I already said it. If you haven't yet shared this podcast, you better stop right now and share it, because it's about to get, what we say, all the way live. We're about to go all the way live. Okay. All right. So before I go, one more thing I want to quick say. This podcast is powered by the Unique Blessings Podcast Network. I'm a part of a nonprofit organization called Unique Blessings. We do a lot of work. You saw the commercial. It's about 2 minutes long. This is a phenomenal organization that does so much work in the areas of domestic violence, sexual assault, and teen and human trafficking. This is important stuff. A lot of work with teens too. All right. So we focus on young ladies that are at-risk youth. All right. So let me keep going. Here's where we are. Let me do the setup, y'all. Y'all ready? Over the course of about 6 years, y'all, from October 2011 to December 2017, y'all know what happened. A whole lot. I was in an abusive marriage. I was in this marriage that at first, of course, it wasn't, right? It went from amazing because I was like, oh my God, y'all, I'm in love. Y'all all saw me. I was joyful, right? Y'all saw it. I was so happy, and that's no lie. That part was there. But it went from amazing. We say spirit fingers, amazing. It went from amazing to abusive. And y'all got to see it. Different points of time for different reasons, different moments. So what you do know is what I experienced. Everything from verbal abuse, psychological, financial, and yes, some physical abuse. I saw a lot of stuff. I went through a lot of things that some of y'all didn't even know. Never told you, tried to cover it, didn't share it in the moment. Rashida tell you, oh, I was all good. No, I'm fine, girl. I'm okay. I did a lot of that. Y'all know. Renata was at work with me like, So I never would have thought that would have been my life. Never. Never would have thought that my circle would have been stretched and then almost fall apart all around me. But that's what it felt like I lost it all. But I was in this never-ending battle. I felt like I was literally on a battleground with my now ex-husband. Thank you, Lord. My now ex-husband. And I was literally living my life every day in fear, trying to figure out what in the world was happening around me, whether it was fear for my safety or was fear for my sanity, all of that. So, but it didn't just affect me, did it? Didn't just affect me, it affected you too. So this show today is exactly about that. Here's my story, here's my life, but for all of you ladies that were more than just part of my life, you are huge parts of my life. You also were affected. And I want you guys to talk about your experience of my story. Can you do it? Can we do it together? Are we ready? All right, let's go. Now listen, why is this important? I'm going to say one last thing. People don't necessarily understand domestic violence. They don't. It's crazy how it seems like the thing that happens all the time, but they don't really understand it. They don't understand necessarily that isolation is a very specific tactic that's a part of domestic violence. And so it's, how do I separate her, or even him, because sometimes guys get abused too. How do I separate her from everything that was her strength? How do I make her forget or get disconnected from the people who would step up and be like, oh, no, you won't, not her. How do I do that? How do I weave this very specific tactic and strategy to get that done? And it happened to me. And y'all felt it. You went through it with me. So we're going to talk about that. I'm going to show you. I told you I'll prepare. I got questions. These ladies don't follow instructions though. So y'all can just imagine this probably going to go way off the rails. But at least I got the questions that I sent them out. So the first question, because I know y'all ready to hear them talk. They look so good. Look at all these pretty faces. They look so good because they are good and their hearts are big and good. So y'all ready to meet them? Okay, let's get started. My question number one is, I want you guys to tell everyone your name, which is obviously on the screen, but it's better when you say your own name. say your name, and then describe how we met, like how we actually know each other. So we're going to go round robin a little bit here, and we're going to start with Tanara. Y'all can unmute now. We're just going to talk. Just go ahead and unmute.
All right. Well, hey, Shorty. And hi.
Y'all hear Shorty? That's Shorty.
Yeah,
I'm Shorty. Okay.
And part in my podcast, Ignorance of Social Media. I guess these are your viewers. I'm saying hello to the viewers.
Yes.
Viewers. Okay. Hi, viewers. Okay. So my name is Tanara. I am Tanara Blount. Shorty has blasted my government name on here week after week. This is me. I am Tanara. How did I meet Shorty? Oh, wow. I met Shorty in kindergarten. We go
so
way,
embarrassing.
way back. We met in kindergarten. All I'm going to say is Shorty swears all of these years later that I took her spot at a magnet school here in Philly. The devil's a lie. I did not take her spot. I did not take her spot. But that's how I met Shorty. I met Shorty in kindergarten. And she actually lived across the street from my aunt. So I guess it was destined that we meet. But that's how I met Shorty.
And she left out the part about how she was the teacher's pet in kindergarten, how I couldn't stand her because she was the teacher's pet. But that's a different story. We can talk about that another day. Miss McCann's music class. Okay, let's keep going.
Too old to be that bitter still.
Let it go.
Let it
go. Moving on, bestie, to the next bestie, to Rashida.
Hey. I also call her Shorty.
It's a Philly thing.
Yes. So Shorty and I met in 7th grade, and it's funny, she didn't like Tanara. She didn't like me either when we first met. No. I stole her best friend, so that was the problem. We had a mutual friend. She felt like I was stealing her best friend from her. And one day we got to talking, and we had all these things in common, especially dance. Yes. From there, her and I became like white on rice, inseparable. And we were a dance group. Sort of like a Scoop and Scrap back in the 80s. We were like a hip hop
Scrap lover.
We were a hip hop dance group. And her brother managed us, by the way. We performed in Philadelphia for rap.
No.
Another embarrassing moment. Go ahead.
I'm not going to take it any further with Tanara getting on us about how we dress, but
yeah.
Y'all look like the Chumpies potato chip bag. That's who y'all look like.
See, wait a minute. Some of these people on this podcast might not remember the Chumpies chips. They might not remember Chumpies. You know? So, all right. Look, Renata, we're gonna move up. Veronica, we're gonna move on to you because we can get past this elementary, middle school stuff. You know, come on, let's go.
All right. So, hey everybody, my name is Veronica Hawkins. I'm at my special, so we all have a different name that we call Angelique. But her name to me, we met. I want to say at like 92 at Penn State University. Yeah, we are Penn State, and we were in the same Greek organization. So she pledged after me twice.
Yeah.
Pledged after me twice.
Yeah. And
the second time we pledged Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and I got to pick Angelique as my special. And so in Delta Land at UG, Penn State, you get to pick somebody to be kind of your daughter. And I got to pick Angelique after much conversation and drama in the chapter, because I said I wasn't going to take a special if I didn't have who I wanted. And so I was going to skip a special, and then I got Angelique, and I was like, okay, I'm good. And so we have known each other since then, and it's been up and down and around Delta Land and here and there, but we've always found our way back, and I am so honored to have her as my special.
Yay! Shout out to all the Penn State crew, wherever you may be. I see some We Are Penn States up on here. Hey, all right, I love it. All right, well, who's next? I think it's Renata.
So hello, everyone. I am Renata Siegel, and so I got to meet Miss Angelique professionally first. I actually came across her in 2009 first. So I didn't know who she was then, but I did get to see her. We'll probably not be mentioning that deity either for me, not for her. Okay. At a professional entity. And so I met her, I seen her at a town hall, and she was just so poised. And so actually, because of this situation, seeing all that, and we'll talk about that later. But she was such a poised individual, and as everybody can see, and probably will attest on here, her smile is what caught me first. I was like, she's so poised, but she was so everybody probably could attest to just sometimes when you're in a professional setting, seeing other Black women sometimes they're so guarded, so standoffish. And when I asked about who she was, they was like, oh, she's such and such, and she's in this department, and she was higher up. But when I actually got to be introduced to her, she was so welcoming and so nice. And she wasn't in my department at that time, but every time I would see her, she always was so welcoming. She always would speak. And I was like, she is really, really nice. She's nothing like any of the other Black women that I came in contact with in the company. And I was like, that's so interesting. And then later on, she ended up coming into the same department that I was in. And she was promoted even higher in that department. And so when she came into that department, I was like, okay, so we're gonna see if this is gonna change. Because she was nice then.
I know you was thinking all this.
She got, she got promoted, and so she came in even in a higher position with more zeros. And so I was like, we're gonna see if this is gonna change. But she came in with that same energy. She came in with that same just warmness, and she was always so nice and everything like that. And we connected on so many levels. And she went from Angelique to Leek. So I ended up getting a nickname for her too. So but that's how I met her. I met her in a professional setting, and we quickly took that offline, if you will. So that's how I met her.
Yay! That's my girl. That's my girl. All right, you got to pull up the rear, Sarita. What's up, girl?
I'm Sarita, Philly girl too. We Philly all day. We got all the Philly girls on here. I didn't meet Angelique in elementary or middle school, but I met her in college, like Veronica. I went to Penn State. I'm not gonna speak on it. Little mixed feelings about it, but we're gonna keep it moving. Renata was like, oh, she was so smart. I didn't get that Angelique. I didn't get that one when I first met her. I met her at a summer program. And she was Angelique, like, I was like, who is this chick? Like, don't call me Angelique. My name is Angelique. And I was like, okay, all right.
True.
Yeah. So I wasn't really feeling her. I wasn't really feeling her at first. But then as I got to know her through the program, I think it was press. It was like freshman engineering. She was so cool. So it's funny how your first impressions, like with Tanara and Rashida were saying, sometimes your first impressions with people can be so wrong. You can just totally misjudge them. And so she went from Angelique to just Leek to then in Spanish, we like give like affectionate nicknames. So she became my nena, which is just a little Spanish term that I call her. So but I agree with what everyone says. She is such an amazing person. She's very loyal. When she's your friend, she's your ace for life. And so it's nice to see all the women on here that I have, met personally or heard Angelique say so many amazing things about. And I'm just excited we get to celebrate you on your special day.
Yes, the whole 44.
Well, see, I'm the standoffish one, so I guess she had to be nice to me.
Listen, Renata, let me just clarify. Renata is the standoffish one. And then she'd be like, oh, you my dog though. And so I'm going to protect you like a pit bull type thing. That's Renata, y'all.
Because I can read people.
Because she can read people.
I read people's spirits.
Let's talk about it. Oh gosh, I have so much to talk to y'all about. This is just awesome. Okay, here's question number 2. I moved to the Carolinas in 2008, right? So I'm all excited. I got this new job. I'm moving with the company, and I'm doing the career chase thing, the climb the ladder thing, all that. At that time, if you had been asked to vote for girl most likely to marry an abuser, would you have chosen me?
No.
Oh, let's go back around. Let's start with you, Rita.
No. First of all, we from Philly. We fighters. So it's like why didn't you punch him in his mouth? Like, for real. You know what I'm saying? So that part of it was like, not my league. No, like she gonna bust this dude to the white meat. So that was the part that I think was hard, because sometimes your persona, like is larger than life, right? We can say it's larger than life. So to see that and to know that you were experiencing and walking through that, I know for me, it just didn't seem to line up. Like, no, this not the girl I know. Like she don't play that. So something got to be, there's something I'm missing that I don't see how this and this is lining up. It just doesn't make sense. Yep. So no, I would have never in a million years thought that.
What you think, Renata?
But see, that's what I was saying. So that's what I was saying about, like, some of the other ladies met you at different aspects of your life. When I met you, you were a complete and utter boss. They were coming and asking you about everything. You were flying in and out of like when I met you, you were, they were coming and checking for you on all aspects of your life. So absolutely not that. I mean, you said you was about to cry. That even in this moment makes me wanna, because it's too early to be crying. I mean, it really isn't. I don't cry. I don't cry at all.
I know.
I would have fought somebody tooth and nail. I'd have been like, no, you better go talk to so and so else. That absolutely is not happening. I'd have been like, you a lie, truth ain't in you. You allow the devil lie in his mama, not her. Just because of just of how when I met you, you were so. I mean, I looked up to you, like completely, and I still do. That does not, and I want to say that even now, that does not change. When women go through this, that does not change their strength. That does not change their power. But going through that does not change the power and the force that you are. But I would have never in my life. I'd have gave the kidney I got remaining to bet against that. I would have never guessed that, even with the things that I was seeing. Internally, I fought against things that I thought I saw. I fought against that because they did not line up with what I knew you to be at all. So no. No.
Veronica. Ooh, Renata. Lord have mercy.
I'll get some tissue.
So my answer would have been, heck no. It could be another H word in there, but it would have been all the way no. But Renata just said something that I think is one of the questions we're going to talk about a little bit later. And it was, I was almost no, I wouldn't have voted for you. And when I started getting that inclination, I denied myself. I was like, no, she happy. Like, I don't want to be jealous type. Is it me? I questioned a lot of, did I see that? Did he say that? Did he look at her weird? Did she just flinch? Like, what was that about? Like, why she change? What's going on? Why Moo got to be perfect all the time? And this whole first birthday thing, we're going to talk about that first birthday thing. But for me, it was then. And then it was her baptism where I was like, okay, wait, no. Like, so I would have voted a no when I met, when I met the dude or whoever you want to call him, the demon, the whomever. I still would have said no. But then as you talk to me about certain things, and it's like you start picking up on things and you're like, well, that don't sound right. That don't sound right. That don't even sound like my special. Well, what's wrong, special? You're like, nothing. I'm like, you just sound blah, blah, blah. So my answer would have been a no, but my answer would have been no long after I think my spirit said yes. And that was the thing that was most frustrating for me is like, why didn't I say something? Like, well, what made me keep giving the benefit of the doubt all this time? Well, this. Well, okay. So how much of my stuff was I just giving someone your loyalty who didn't deserve it? And I'm just they were riding on your credit. So I would say no all day.
So listen, if you just tuned in, gosh, the question that I just asked my ladies the question was, if you had been asked to vote for a girl most likely to marry an abuser, would you have voted for me? And it's a lot already. It's a lot already because, some of these conversations I've had with them, like just over time and discussions and stuff like that. But this question, I know, I understand the answer of no, I get it, but this is the first time I'm hearing all the background of the no from each one of you. So I'm gonna keep going and just keep listening because Rashida.
Renata said it well when she called you a boss. Like since 7th grade, I would say Shorty was a boss since then. And just always knew what she wanted, was a go-getter, like just no nonsense. One thing that I did know about Shorty is she was more flexible when it came down to guys than she would have been with anything else. Like she was completely no nonsense with anything else. Like she was very firm when it came down to what she wanted, how she wanted, planning, everything else. But when it came down to guys, she was a little more accommodating and flexible.
I'm taking notes.
But to ask that question, would I vote for you to marry an abuser? Absolutely not. Like I wouldn't ever think that you would be accommodating or flexible or to that point. Veronica even says something where, and my voice is shaking right now because I just think back on ways, and like sometimes when I heard your voice or I would wonder different things, I would compromise too and say, well, no, that can't be it. It's just me. I'm overthinking it. And I was dealing with my own issues as well. So I'm like, am I projecting my issues on her? So I'm gonna stop there and just say no.
Tanara.
So I think you all have said it. Shorty, you have always been the dominating force to be reckoned with, right? The backbone, the no nonsense, absolutely not. And so if somebody said, I'll give you $1 million, if you think that, I would have said, well, I'm just not gonna get that money because that will never happen to her. Because your personality is so no nonsense, absolutely not. I mean what I say what I mean, and I can see what I'm seeing. But at the same token, when I found out after the fact, I think that is what gave me hope that you were going to be okay and get to where you are today. Because I knew that powerhouse that was deep down inside of there, I knew she was going to come back. And I knew that when she came back, it wasn't going to be nothing that individual or anybody else could do. That just made you even better. It made you even more of a force to be reckoned with. And it made you even more of a powerhouse. So I'm just going to say, no, never in a million years would I ever would have never ever thought that. Because you always were like Sheila said, going back to when we were younger, you were that person when we were in our teenage years doing stupid stuff that would be no, and it's like, oh yeah, was she right? All right, So no, I would have, nope, would have never thought that. Absolutely not.
Oh my gosh, there's so many people making comments, and I know I can't show them all. There's some funny ones in here though. Anisha said she going back to like the drama of it all. He called the right ones and we come out in black, dressed in all black, and took care of it, right? But there's some comments in here. So Heather made a comment. She said Veronica made a good point when she says sometimes we let someone else ride on your credit. It prevents us from speaking up on something even when our gut is telling us something different. Yeah. Heather, thank you for putting that in there because she's 100% right. And I'm going to go back and read these comments after the show because I know I'm going to hear stuff. You know how you hear things and you've heard it before, but you sometimes hear it differently in a given moment. And this is that moment for me. That's my saying, my line says Shanika. She said, as women, what makes us question our intuition, our discernment, God's spirit? What makes us question all those things? I don't know if anybody wants to touch that one, but I wanted to put that one up here. Renata?
I'll say, because like I think Veronica mentioned, sometimes because you're going through your own stuff.
Oh, it was
as
Rashida.
well. I'm sorry, Rashida said, sometimes you're going through your own stuff. I was even talking to a friend about that the other day. I got a non-name too that I was engaged to at that place.
Yes,
and
indeed.
Going through that, you were supposed to help me plan that way, and thank you, Jesus.
Glad we didn't plan that way.
Girl, but going through some things with that, but because you were so strong, and then you talked about all, she held y'all at such high regard. And so since I was late to the wonderfulness that was Angelique, I knew that she shared things with me, but I felt, in my mind, I felt that she was sharing more with others. And so because I was already questioning what I had going on, I felt like my discernment was off, because I thought my discernment was on with this man that I was dealing with. Mm-hmm. So I already was questioning where my discernment was, because why didn't I see what was going on in my own backyard? If that makes sense. My discernment's already off with this joke I done prayed about for me. Mm-hmm. And so then I'm wanting to know, okay, am I projecting, like y'all mentioned, am I projecting my stuff onto her? And then I know that we're close, but she has people that she's closer to. And so surely if something's really, really off, they've picked it up. Mm-hmm. But I'm not thinking that we're close and she's talking to me, but she may not be sharing with me or sharing with them, just like she's not sharing with me. So I had a lot of factors causing me to question, because my discernment is normally, spot on. There's other things that I've shared with her, and she's been like, wow, really? Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, I was just talking to God about that. But in that moment, because I had stuff going on in my own backyard that I was questioning about, because I'm like, God, why didn't I see this about this man? I'm finna say I do to this whole fool. Entirely. Like, just had me bamboozled. So my confidence in my discernment was shaky anyway, in my own stuff. And so she's not telling me a lot. So I'm thinking, I'm questioning what I'm seeing, that am I really just questioning love and relationships because mine is in shambles? I'm putting deposits on stuff and everything, and come to find out I was completely fooled. So it's a video thing. And so I'm questioning that. And so then I'm thinking, sorry, y'all. It's all right. It's all right. So I'm questioning that. So it caused me to question God guiding me in this moment, because I didn't question my stuff. So even though the puzzle was right there, I was so questioning it. And I still beat myself up about that, because the only thing that stayed with me was just my heart. God rebuilt that for me. She was in physical danger. Mm-hmm. She was in physical danger. You see what I'm saying? And so to this day, that bothers me to my soul, because instead of me just going on and asking, I was still caught up in my own stuff. And sometimes as women, we can get selfish that way, because we're caught up in our stuff. And I know she don't blame me. I know that. But because I was caught up in here with my stuff, I didn't take the time to say, hey, are you really okay? Mm-hmm. And she may not have never even told me, but because of how I love her, I'll always question myself. Why didn't you ask? Why didn't you ask?
Renata, you said something, and Rashida kind of was the one who got us on that, who uncovered this iceberg, and it really is around, if the devil can keep us all busy in our own little world, distracted, and we just sitting around wondering, I had just gone through a divorce. I was like, I dare not come into my special's home with my divorce trauma, so I'm just gonna be on my best behavior. I'm just gonna be like, he cool. But if the
Trouble the
devil can
water.
keep us busy, just looking at this thing off in the distance, meanwhile the thing that's right here, we can't see it. I feel like that's what his job is. I feel like the enemy's job is to keep us off our square such that we can't be help to somebody else. So if I can be all woe is me or downtrodden
Yeah.
or selfish or whatever, then I can't be help to everybody else that I'm supposed to be helping because I'm busy dealing with my own foolishness.
Can't
So
see
we
the
can,
forest for the trees.
yeah, exactly. So we can help each other, and that's one of the things that Angelique and I'll talk about. Like I'll listen to her podcast and I'll call her. I'll be like, so okay, what I felt like, and so now I'm just more bold. I'm like, special. I want you to consider this is what I heard, but you
Yep.
didn't say it.
Yep.
So now I'm trying to be more purposeful, but if the devil keeps us busy, if we let the devil keep us busy,
Mm.
then we're not going to be help to everybody that we're supposed to help.
That's right.
Oh, y'all. Yeah. I just mm,
Can I
I
say one
feel
thing?
so much. Go ahead, Nina.
I also think sometimes we don't want to have those difficult conversations because one, we don't know how it's going to go. We don't know if they're going to get pissed at us because we're questioning their husband, their boyfriend, their significant other. You know, there's been times, I'm sure everyone, where you've maybe said something to a friend and it did not go well. And so sometimes I think that makes us more reticent to come to them all the time and say these things. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not even saying it as an excuse. I'm just saying it as a fact because I was talking to her about this today. It's almost like you have to be so confident in your relationships with people that you've given them the permission to say, you can come tell me the hard stuff. You can come talk to me and tell me stuff that I may not initially want to hear and I might not even like or appreciate at the moment. But because I know your heart for me and that you love me and you have my best intentions at heart, I know it's not coming from a place of insecurity or even jealousy, you know, because like you were saying, some of us have had stuff happen to us in the past and you don't want to project that. You don't want that person thinking, I'm saying this because I'm somehow jealous of you
I'm
or I don't want
hating.
the best for you or something like that. No, I'm saying it because something is off. Like you're not acting how you used to act. And I'm seeing something very different. And you keep telling me you're fine. And I know you're not fine because you're not acting the way you typically act. So
Listen, y'all see these comments popping up? I mean, people are just feeling this. Listen, I want y'all to, I want to be very clear to everybody. Yeah, it's my birthday. All right, we all celebrate our birthdays, but my mission is so much bigger. I want you to understand that this comment, that's why I pulled this comment up. The sisterhood is stronger together than apart. I want you to think about your circle, whoever you are, whether you're a victim or survivor of domestic violence or not. I want you to think about the circle of women around you. Women tend to keep quiet about things, feel like they're in competition with each other about things and all that. Well, she just looking at my man, probably want him. You know what, girl, stop. Okay, just for a second. Okay, he ain't that fine. Let's just back up 2 steps. Okay, he ain't. But at the end of the day, we need to be a little more, or probably a lot more comfortable with being vulnerable with each other. And stop thinking that we have to battle each other, or she's probably saying that because she's just jealous and she wishes she was about to get married too. I had all these stupid thoughts that I think back to and stuff, little tiny steps. That's my dog. Literally, y'all hear him in the background? He is literally sleeping. He's dreaming right now. These little thoughts that creep in that make you question some of the strongest relationships you ever had in your life. Stop for a moment and remember the sisterhood. Remember your circle. And sometimes in your circle is not a woman, it's a man, it's whoever. But I just want to tell anyone who is going through it right now, who has survived it. Yeah, you might have lost some friends in that process, but my God, if you can reconcile that, because those women, and Tanara is, God, that's our story. The women in your life, the people who are in your circle, hold on to that. The people you knew loved you since day one will still love you through the drama, because I've watched it happen, because y'all did it for me. Still love you through the drama and help you heal. And may not even like what you're saying and get confused by your confusion, but staying right there with you every step you take, every single step. Thank y'all so much. Because I would not be. Listen, I'm crying. Y'all know my tears. My tears. I'm like, I don't care who see me crying. This is healing right in front of you. And you guys are a part of that. And I thank you so much for it. I really do. I'm going to keep going because there is this stuff I need y'all to say. Number 3. When was your something just ain't right about him or this relationship moment? When was that moment? I am going to ask Tanara to go first, and then y'all just fall in wherever y'all going to fall in. But I want Tanara to go first on this one because I think she had the earliest moment. Everybody.
When I first met him. Shorty and I met my husband. She met her ex the same month, same year. And we were talking about him. She was telling me about him. I was in Florida at the time. And I was like, oh, I gotta meet this dude because stuff was just happening a little too quick. And I'm the protective one, you know, out of the 3 of us, I'm like the Broad Street bully. I'm the rah-rah one, you know. Feel like I gotta be mama bear, always protecting, even dominating Shorty. I still felt like And so I met him. I drove up from Florida that Christmas. And I said, I need to meet this man. I need to meet him. I need to see him. I need to lay eyes on him. And when I got there, we were talking. I told Shorty, I said, go upstairs. I need to talk to him. I want to talk to him just one-on-one without you around. I want to say 5-10 minutes into that conversation, I said, something ain't right with this dude. I'm not going to get into specifics of what that conversation entailed, but I do know I nailed my own coffin shut in that conversation because I promised him in that moment, having seen what I saw in him from how he was speaking to me, what he felt he had to share, all of his insecurities just unraveled within that half hour or so conversation. And I went through what you guys just said. It was like, my best friend is happy. How dare I sit here and rain on his parade and try to throw a flag in here and say, girl, I don't know about him.
It's okay. It's okay.
I regret that. I regret that to this day. It doesn't mean that if I would have said something then that relationship would have stopped. But sometimes I feel like it was so early on that maybe if I said something, that you might have heard something and pulled back, right? But it was in that moment. And what I did in that moment, having observed that from him, is I promised him. I said, that's my blood. That's my sister. I said, if you don't leave this conversation with nothing else, I really need you to understand you will protect and guard her. Don't ever hurt her. I said, because if you do, we're going to have a problem. That's what I said to him.
And he knew. He knew you were going to be a problem.
I tried to say it in a joking way. Those that know me know I kind of, because I didn't want to be rude and I didn't want to be, obnoxious, but I meant that thing. And so in my way, I just kind of did the let me tell you something, bro, you better be careful. I came at him like that. It wasn't like, da-da-da-da. I didn't do that. And I was just mad to find out I was right. That it was right. I didn't want to be right about that thing. I didn't, but I knew when I met him, I had to see him. And when I saw him, his energy, everything he said, I said, Why I didn't say nothing, I don't know. And that's the piece that gets me. Because when I found out everything that you went through, I'm going to stop. I'm done.
I'm going to put some context around this. I met him in February 2010. We dated, it moved very quickly. It's funny because when I was in it, I didn't think I was moving quickly. I thought I was comfortable. I thought I was, this was fine by me. February 2010, I met him. November 2010, he was moving in my place and she couldn't stand that thought. Tanara could not stand it. And I remember the phone call. I kept it kind of a secret when it was about to happen. And I remember talking to Tanara and she was like, like she said, she the Broad Street bully. Why he can't move you into his place? Why he moving into your place? Why he got, it was that kind of thing. Where's his this? Because you thorough. Where's his stuff? Right? I remember that. And I'm like, oh no, it's just that, listen, I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to own this. I remember this moment clearly. Oh no, it's just that we all together, we're together so much all the time. Either I'm at his place or he's at my place. So, might as well just go ahead and, save this money because we're going to be that all the reasons why to do the nonsense. From February to November, that short length of time, he was in my house. She had a problem with it and was like, I need to see this person. I need to meet him face to face, and met him and didn't like anything she saw or heard. And why she's upset is because she didn't, Tanar, we talk about this, you didn't tell me like you wish you would have told me. And you say you don't know, like you don't know even if you did tell me. Would I have received it that way? I already moved them in my house. Honestly, I don't know. I got way too invested, way too fast. I thought I saw what I wanted. I thought God put it in front of me. Are y'all listening to me? I thought God put it in front of me. How wrong was I?
But that was him playing on. That was him playing on what he knew, the information he'd had about you. That was him playing on knowing what you wanted. That was him playing on, let me be who I think I know she wants me to be. And so I just want to say this to you, and I say this to you all the time, because I never want you to look back on this stuff and feel like that still was your fault. Like none of this was your fault. Right? You did nothing wrong by doing that. You were following your heart, right? Because that's who you are, and it just, to me, it just constantly goes back to, this is the game that this man was playing. It's the game that these men play, right? And this is what they do. But I love you. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be quiet for now.
I want y'all to see the comment that Anisha put on the screen, because Anisha is a Tanara type. And pretty much she just gonna say whatever she's here to say. And she said, and that is why he needed to remove Tanara. I want y'all to understand, he saw the threat. She was a problem for him. He knew early on he had to knock her out the box because she was so much a part of my strength and my foundation. And not just that, but that she was bold in her speech. And because of that, he knew he had to get her out the way quickly. And so I'm telling you guys this because I got two best friends on here. It's Tanar and Rashida. I want to admit that Tanar and Rashida is my besties. Rashida talked about earlier about what she had going on in her life. Tanar was just able in her situation to come more and actually meet him, right? She got that chance to meet him, didn't like him. He quickly was like, I got to figure out how to get her out of here. And all along the way, there were little seeds being planted as to why she wasn't this and why she was being jealous and why she was this and that. And I was like, what? No, huh? Listen to me, y'all. This is day one, right? 5 years old, kindergarten. And this fool had me thinking something different about the woman I've known for over 30 years of my life. How does that even happen? I still don't even get it. But he did it. It happened.
Master manipulator.
That's a manipulation, and it happened. And so what happened? We get married. We have a child. He doesn't want her to be my daughter's godmom. All this craziness is going on between us. And next thing I know, me and Tanar aren't speaking. And she hadn't even met my baby after she was born. She didn't meet her for years. Y'all, literally lost her for years over some dude that was trash. It meant me no good. When I tell y'all, listen to me, God, when I tell you that the people who love you from the beginning love you forever, these are my ladies. And there ain't no guy, nowhere that should come in to your circle and make you think less of the people who have been there since the beginning, or even since work or college or whatever. So this is hard, but I need this moment because it's beyond me. I need women to understand the power of their circle, because in that circle is love, genuine love. Genuine. All right. Woo, Lord have mercy. Nicole put a comment in. As Black women, we need to stop investing in people that are not giving us returns on our investments. We gonna go business on the love, right? We gonna go business. If you are not giving a return on that investment, you need to go, sir. And we need to be okay with buying low and selling high. Nicole, thank you. All right, we got more. We have more. So when was your, anybody else, when was your something just ain't right about him or this relationship moment? Something just ain't right.
So I have a few. Um, so I think you were already dating
Yeah.
when I heard about him. So I had an issue with him moving in.
Mm-hmm.
I always had an issue with that because my question was, why were you moving in with him? I did
Yeah.
not like that.
Yep.
I remember you telling me that there's. I remember when the tension supposedly started with you and Tanala
Yeah.
because you had told me like, my bestie, I got two best friends and we've been friends since 5. And I don't know if you remember me questioning what was the problem because I had never met her, but I
And I
was
had
like,
an explanation, didn't I?
yeah, you had an explanation, but his name kept coming up
Yep.
and he has questions. And I immediately saw through that because I was like, he's trying to isolate her.
Mm.
And my
Those
thing
words
was,
weren't even in my mind, Renata. Like, he's
his
trying to isolate her.
and my thing was, anytime you got a relationship and they begin to try to isolate you from people that you have solid relationships with consistent history, not shoddy history, because you sometimes we do have relationships with people that they've been inconsistent on their loyalty, they've been inconsistent with what, but this is somebody that you had told me like she's been there through this and that and this and that bothered me.
Yep.
I'm like, this ain't somebody that you done said you done had to watch your man around and done borrowed money from you and da, 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 da. I mean, you done told me I can't wait for you to meet Tanar. I can't wait for you to meet this person. I can't, and all of a sudden it's like,
We got beef.
y'all got, what is the beef on? And even, but to me, I hate to say it this way, but I'm just, I'm real. The reason was weak to me. It was real weak.
Yeah.
And I was like, and she done drove up here to meet this man. I was like, oh, H, no. I don't even curse. I was like, that's weak. So I kept waiting. And so then when he was supposed to, you wanted me to meet him, and it was like 2 separate occasions where we were supposed to meet. He was going to come for lunch.
And it didn't happen.
And something just came up. But he wasn't even working. He wasn't even working consistently. So I was like, he living in your house and he ain't being consistent about his work, but he can't come meet. Okay, that was an issue. And so then when the tension with y'all was so shoddy that she never even met the baby, I was completely done. But and we're just going to be real and blunt, when you had made the decision, even though he was living there, that you wanted to change the flow of y'all's relationship and stop some things that y'all were doing so that y'all get your relationship on track so that God could bless your union. And there was that instance that y'all had where he blew up about that. But he was claiming he wanted God to honor y'all's relationship.
God, you remember so much.
And things got real hot and heavy that one night. And it wasn't, you didn't see it as it being physical, but I did. And you made real light of it. The level of anger that I got out of that, but you didn't see that it was a problem. I really began to worry because I'm like, she don't even see that that's borderline abuse. And I brought it up to you a couple times in like conversation when you completely shut me down about it.
I didn't want to see.
And I was like, and so then you was like, Renata, you were almost like, we're not gonna talk about this again. And I was like, I had nowhere to go with it, if that makes sense.
No, it does. It
Because
does.
it kind of let me know, like, you were almost like, and I was like, oh God, what am I going to do with this? Because this person is telling her, okay, let God be the center of our relationship. But when y'all are supposed to come to the table of what we're going to do to let God be the center, then we need to do this. And then when you make that the suggestion, they're basically forcing you to do stuff against what you want to do.
Yeah.
And then when I try to broach it with you,
I'm not receiving it.
You shut down on me. I was like, okay,
You know what?
This is a different thing. And so it was like bells galore.
Renata, I appreciate you because I can, I know those moments.
Yeah.
I know those moments. And it's funny because I told somebody else, I said, well, I feel like either things are blocked, like until someone says, remember that moment when, and I'm like, oh my God, that did happen. Almost like I can't even pull forward. There are things that I remember about what happened that stand out to me, those like almost like pivotal moments that are the big moments. But it's stuff like that we can't, okay, so now I'm talking to everybody, that we can't see for whatever reason, whatever dream, because I'm gonna call it that, whatever dream we're chasing or dream we're holding on to, or you feel like you're so far in, that's what I want to say. You feel like you're so far in that to back up now, it's like starting over, and it's like what they call it, the phrase is even in project management, escalation of commitment. Here's this project, we're so far in, we spent $1 million already, we got to figure out how to make it work. Same thing happens in relationships. We're so far in. I didn't even met everybody, my colleagues. We traveled together. I told everybody how awesome he is. Look at all our Facebook posts, and I hate Facebook. Look at all our Facebook posts about us and our love and how amazing it is. And you don't know how to back up and say, oh, hell no, this ain't right. We don't know how to do that because we've said so much about it. So I am talking to the audience right now. I don't care how many times you said you love them. I don't care how many kids y'all got. I don't care if you were thinking about marriage and y'all were engaged. It doesn't matter. When you come to the realization that this person in this relationship is unhealthy can lead to abusive can lead to you may never see your friends and family again, and you find yourself trying to escape from an abusive relationship. Let's not get there. Be okay with being by yourself. Be okay with saying, I didn't make the right decision. Be okay with saying he's not who I thought he was. Be okay with that. Because when you don't, you end up in this far, having to recover, having to have counseling, oh my gosh. I have so much more. Listen, let me just tell anybody that's on this thing right now, this podcast right now, we on here till 8:30. So you're going to stay or you don't. But I'm telling you right now, you need it. You need to hear it. I'm going to keep going.
Sure. Go
ahead, Sheeta.
So Renata actually shared something similar where it started when Tanara and I, we were planning to come to visit you, and we had to reschedule the trip a few times.
Yep.
And I just remember how upset you were about the fact that she couldn't make it down, or that we had to reschedule the trip, that it got to the point where the two of you stopped speaking. Of course, we were always the three musketeers. Like we were, everybody, they saw one, it was all three of us together. And I just, times when you and I had conversations and I would ask you like, well, what's going on? Well, why? Like, and you're like, well, the answers, you had an answer pretty much for everything. And I would counter those answers. And I'm like, wait a minute, but what about when your dad, it was one of those things where I think he was planting the seed, like she wasn't there for you. She was she wasn't a good friend, like all these things. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, what about this? What about that? What about this? And I'm bringing up different facts. And you had a quick response for everything. And I think it got to the point where your no nonsense came in, and it was one of those like, this is the end of this conversation. Like, we're not going to go back and forth to keep talking about it. And And it didn't matter how long of a relationship we had. It didn't matter how much I talked about the faithfulness and commitment of our friendship for years and how committed she's been as a friend. And I'm like, wait a minute, but she the one that was there when you got your dress. Like, she's the one that came up for your shower, and she's the one that came.
I remember this conversation.
She's the one that helped your dad when your dad needed a place to stay. And then what about Amber when she was taking Amber to and from college? And what about that? And like, I was throwing up all these different things, and it was like all these counter responses. And I just remember at that moment, I'm like, where is Shorty?
Mm-hmm.
Where is she? And then it was later on, some time had passed, and you and I talked about this before, where you were planning to go on a trip for your job. And when I called and talked to you, it's been a while since we talked, but when I called and talked to you, I could hear it in your voice immediately when you answered the phone. And you have always been a life of the party, like bubbly personality, come in and just like know how to light up a room. And when you answered the phone, I heard it immediately in your voice that something wasn't right. And even though you tried to play it off, you couldn't. Like, that was one of those moments where you couldn't play it off, and I could hear distress in your voice. Like, that's the best way I can describe it. I could hear distress in your voice when you were talking to me, even though you were trying to make it seem like, you know, it's just a little argument and we'll get over it kind of thing. And I told you I would call you later on that afternoon. You had to get off the phone. And I said, I'm going to call you back and check on you. And I called her back. She didn't answer. I think it was maybe a day or two later we talked, and you were away at the time. He wasn't supposed to come on the trip. He was with you on the trip when I talked to you. Mm. And when I talked to her, she was like, oh, everything is just fine. You know, as a matter of fact, I think I said, if nothing else, I don't always have the most eloquent words to say or good words, but I do know how to pray. Like, I'm a praying somebody. So when I'm like, hey, let's pray. And I think I told her, let's pray that evening. She did not want to pray. Shorty has never told me no to prayer. She did not want to pray. You did not want to pray. Mm. And I talked to you 2 days later, and you were like, oh, everything's okay, and made light of it. And I just remember that was the moment that really, like, my heart sunk.
Yep.
I think I had knots in my stomach even after getting off the phone with you that first night, because I knew, like, something's not right, and she's not telling me everything.
Yep. I remember that. I remember that so well. And it was a shift. It was like, I don't know I think it was a situation where I said, oh, he had agreed to go to counseling, right? I didn't tell you all this, but it was like, oh, we're good now. We're fine now. And it just, let me say something real quick, and I'm gonna go to the next question. There is a cycle. There is a cycle to abuse. And I know that it sounds real academic. You know, people are like, oh, you read that somewhere. No, I don't know. I lived it. There is a cycle to this thing. And you don't even know you're in it. And it's like, you think that the relationship is just on the rocks and you're having a rough time, or you're having a lot of arguments, or, you know, it's just a rough time right now. People say couples fight, right? They fight, you know, and it's a cycle. But people don't understand that these fights, these arguments, this bad communication is orchestrated. Hear what I'm telling you. It is orchestrated by the abuser to keep you off balance. And then they send you back on balance when they feel like it, when they feel like you're upset enough, and they got to reel you back in with flowers and gifts or sex or whatever it could be. And then you're like, oh, it's okay. Okay. He said the right thing. We're okay now. And then he waits and he waits until the next moment. And he finds that thing, boom. And you don't even know it's coming, because that's not who you are. You're not that person. And you're on this roller coaster or a cycle all the time. And you ladies got caught in it with me, because I didn't even know what I was in. You know how long it took me to understand that I was in an abusive relationship? I didn't know I was in an abusive relationship to the first time he put his hands on me when my baby was almost 2. It was like I associated abuse with a physical thing. What you are all telling everybody that's watching right now is it's way more than physical, and it starts way sooner than that. Way back, early on, down to, what was that, month 6 or 7 when you met him, Tadara? I mean, that was a long time ago, and a very short into the relationship. If y'all don't hear nothing else, abuse doesn't start because somebody punched you. It starts here. It starts psychological. It can even start sexual and financial. And the physical is sometimes the last thing that you experience. So that's my teaching moment. I'm going to keep going because there's stuff I want y'all to say. Do you ever remember feeling extremely worried for me or even scared for me? If so, when was that situation and what triggered the feeling? And this particular one, I want Sarita to start.
I think it was the night you escaped.
Yeah.
You had come to my house. I'm sorry, it's really crazy. And you had Moo with you.
Yep.
And you were a mess. Like you were a wreck. And you was like, I need you to hide us. Like he don't know where you live. Like it's safe here. Like I need you to hide us. And everything like that. And I think we talked about changing the locks, and he was getting served the order.
Yep.
And so it wasn't safe for you to be there because we didn't know how he was going to respond, right?
Yep.
But as fate would have it, that was also the day you had an opportunity to get some stuff back that you needed. Some stuff that you had paid for that he was trying to basically steal, right?
Clear out the house. He's gonna clear out that house.
He was trying to clear out the house and everything because the protection order thing was a mess. So she had came with Moo, and we were trying to figure out what was going to happen. And then she tells me, y'all, that she's gonna go home. She's gonna go back to the house.
And just for context, her house is about 40 minutes from where I was living at the time. So I had to drive all the way up there with me and the little mama, and then I was going to go back.
And she tells me she's going to go back to the house. And I'm like, no, you're not. And she's like, I have to go back because I need to get this stuff. You don't understand. This is my only opportunity to go back. And I'm like, no, this is not a good idea. Like, he's getting served this protection order. What if something happens? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you talking about? Like, this is crazy. And so I remember telling my husband, like, I'm going. Like, I'm going to go with her. I'm going to take something with me. But we finna roll up there. Like, just in case something pop off, you know what I mean? Like, you don't know how people are. So I remember, telling him, like, I can't let her go by herself. Like, I have to go with her. And he was like, oh, heck no. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, I'm married. So it's not just like me. It's like, now, like, I got to look out for, like, so he's trying to look out for me. I'm trying to look out for her. And I'm mad at him because he's telling me I can't go. And I'm like, but she's in this relationship where something may happen. And if something happens, I'm never going to forgive myself, knowing that she went out there and I'm not here. And so she was like, no, I'm going to be fine. I need you to watch my daughter. Like, I just need you to be with her. Like, that's the best thing you could do for me right now is just to be with her. Just stay here with her until I get back. And so I was like, please call me, like, please, whatever. And then the only way we let her go is she told us that she was going to call the police first and have them meet her at the house.
Yep.
And so she called the police, and I don't know if she knew, but I called some police officers that I was in the Marine Corps with that I knew. And I was like, just in case something pop off, I need y'all to show up at this place. And so that was the most nerve-wracking moment. Is when the night she escaped and she came to stay with us. And he got served. I just didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know if they were going to have a run-in or a confrontation. And you just never know. You hear about stuff like that going way wrong. And
yep.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Special, were you about to say something?
Yeah. Yes. So I remember that night. I don't know how I got on the phone. I don't know if Mama called me. I think Mama called me. Somehow Mama called me at some point. And the dates and the timeline may be a little bit fuzzy, but when he showed up to your job and you were on the phone with me and Marvin, and you were like, he is in the parking lot of my job and he's in the son's car trying to disguise himself at your job. And that's when I was like, oh, we come up, this could be game over. Like, he's ready to cross the line into the place of your employment. And for me, that's when I called my husband and was like, listen, I don't know what to do. So Sarita, you mentioned your husband. I had to bring my husband. Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know if I'm going. Like, I don't know if we should go. I don't know if I should call, who I should call, what I should do. But all I know is he showed up at your job trying to disguise himself, trying to catch you. Because at that point, it was everything was pretty much out in the open, or at least the women on this call. And he was just being really erratic. And that's when I took my husband was like, put her phone number in your phone so that if your phone is off, it'll ring. Your phone will ring my husband's phone. So if you call his phone somehow, like we started putting your phone number in places. And for me, when he showed up at your job, I was like, okay, now he's willing to just really show himself to everybody.
Yes.
Right. And you had to go talk, and I was like, you need to go talk to HR. Like we had a whole conversation.
And I did. Yeah, we had a whole conversation.
So
she
like,
walked me through what to do. Yep.
Yeah, because I'm like, listen, now this could be workplace violence. And I'm not going to turn on the 6 o'clock news and be like, that look real like my special car. Like again, Sarita, how would we feel? So that was my moment where I was like, this dude is on another level. Like he has taken off the sheep's clothing and now he's just going to be the wolf. Yeah. And that's exactly what I felt like in that moment.
So Shorty, there was only one instance that I recall where I was going by the time all of this stuff that you ladies just described. But I vividly remember the one time I did get scared and I called Rashida. We were on the phone driving home from work and you got in the house and we were still on the phone. And we were talking and all of a sudden you went, oh my God. Oh my God. And I got scared and I was like, what's the matter? What's the matter? Somebody in your house was wrong. You was like, oh my God. I was like, Shorty, talk to me. What's going on? You need to call the cops? You were talking about the fact that the dog had pulled his shirt off of a hanger in the closet.
And chewed it and tore it up.
And I remember I was at that point when I realized like, wait, what? And I was like, wait, what happened? I said, you okay? Nobody in the house? You were like, oh my God. Oh, like this, like your voice was like, it was like, I literally thought a stranger was in the house. I thought you came in the house and I saw a stranger. And when I was like, wait, run that back. I said, you said the dog did what? And you literally repeated with so much, like your tone. Yeah, it was almost like a child, like, oh my God. There was tremble in your voice. And you repeated to me, I got to call you back because the dog pulled his shirt down and chewed his shirt up. And I said, and of course me, a shirt in the closet? Didn't he want that dog in the first place?
He sure did.
I was like, that ain't, he wanted the dog, so that should be his fault. Again, in my mind, I'm thinking and I remember I called Sheeta and I was like, yo, something went right. I said, Shorty was like almost scared. I was like, what's going on? And I remember Rashida would be in situations where it's like, I don't know, I'm not sure. But I think, Sheeta, correct me if I'm wrong, I think this was around the time when you two were trying to pinpoint, like, wait a minute, how deep is this thing? But that was the one time, and that was before he, successfully for that time being did what he did. But I will never forget that moment. And that's the one time I would say that when I was still around, I was scared because your reaction to be that extreme, it was like, hold on now. Like, hold on.
There's a few stories like that, Tanara. Like, I know Monique's not on here, but my friend Monique, she talks about when we were at Veronica's wedding. And this is, let me just pause for a second and kind of talk to everybody because I want y'all to understand what's happening here. Like, victims of domestic violence is like or even any kind of abuse, it's like you can't see yourself the way the people who really know you and love you see you. And so when stuff is going down, they're like, you don't even act like that. Like you don't even talk like that. Like, what is wrong with you? And so this story you gave, Tanara, there's another one from Veronica's wedding where like my baby had spilled something on her clothes, or she was little. She had spilled some food on her clothes, and if Monique was here, she'd tell this story. She's like, yo, your reaction to her getting a little bit of food on her clothes was like you were scared, like, oh my God, what is he gonna say? And it's y'all, I am not that scary chick. And so when I think about these stories, I'm like that wasn't me. It was, but it wasn't. You know what I mean? Like it's just like it wasn't me, but it was me.
But that was like her first birthday.
That was like her first birthday.
It had to be the perfect outfit. Now, here's the thing. Tanara should be her godmother. We're going to just go ahead and say that. And because all the stuff that happened, and Tanara, Angelique and I got into an argument about it because I was like, well, what you mean she's not going to do? Like, you need to call and make it right, and I don't want to get in the middle. But either way, I'm like, okay, I'm the godmother. Okay, I get to pick out the first outfit. She's a girl, and she's like, well, you got to run it by him. Why I gotta do that? Well, where we do that at?
Oh
We
God.
we know how to dress our girls. And I literally looked at her and she was like, not that outfit, not that. I was like, well, how about this outfit? And it's okay. And she took a picture and sent it to him.
Wow.
And I was just like,
It
that
was
makes no sense.
checking. I was always
But
checking.
at the
I
time, I
was,
was like, all
it
right,
was,
whatever.
she wore from the hospital, she wore the outfit I got.
That you bought her. Yep.
And it was like, you need to kiss my feet that I selected this outfit. And I was
Ooh,
like,
what?
it was an outfit. I'm glad she wore it.
Yeah.
But there was 2 incidences when I came and visited after you got home. It was a few weeks later, and I was made to feel like so unwelcome. You remember I cut that visit short.
I remember.
That visit
I
so
remember.
short. So short. Because I'm like, I was told to come.
Yeah.
And now you're hovering. I've come in, I understand, for her, new parent, but you're not. You got them sprinkled everywhere. And I come in and wash my hands properly. I've washed my hands and hand sanitized. And I've,
I
done
know how to
everything.
handle a baby.
I know how to handle a baby. But you're hovering and you're being rude. And how many more of your coworkers coming? And all this stuff. So he made me feel uncomfortable. And then he was being rude to her and she's just had a baby. So I'm like, so what are you going to do when I leave? So I didn't want to leave, but you're not going to be rude to me. So that made me very fearful. And then you barking orders at me about making sure I don't post no pictures
He sure was.
on social media of your baby. I wouldn't do that anyway. And so there was a slight argument between me and him about that and everything. So I quickly left about that because that was very, very uncomfortable. But you remember when you were very excited about you wanted it to go natural again.
Yep.
And you were so excited. And I've been looking at hairstyles and this was a big buildup about what she was going to do this. And it was like a 3-4 week process of us talking about her getting her hair. And she's asking me about some products and what I did to go natural and all this stuff and everything like that. And then she comes in and has repermed her hair. She'd been growing it out with the braids and stuff. And I'm going natural and I'm getting a big chop and stuff. And she comes in after a weekend. I think I had went on vacation. I come back. She comes in. It's been cut short and it's permed. What happened? Totally different demeanor, defeated, looked like she wanted to completely cry. Well, he didn't like it. He didn't like the idea. I don't want to talk about it. It's totally like, was excited about it. Had found somebody natural in Charlotte who was going to do it. Was excited about it. Had researched this person. Had talked to people who had went through the process with this person. Was, out of her mind, excited about it. And when, I come back or whatever and talk to her about it. And when I knocked on her door and everything, because she's a boss, she had her own window office and everything. And I knocked on the door. She jumped out of her skin. And I'm like, what happened? He didn't like it. I had to get perm. Was on the verge of tears about it.
Can I touch on something you said about the uncomfortable feeling when you would go over there? Because
I stopped going.
Okay.
And listen, real quick.
Yep.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
That is the goal, is to make the house their domain and to make everybody feel unwelcome. And he succeeded, and that's okay. But I'm gonna let you tell your story, Sarita. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I was going to say it's interesting because usually after people, because ours was shortly after Moo was born too. My mom happened to be in town, and she had heard Leek had her baby, so she was super excited, and she was like, "Oh my God, you gotta call her! We gotta go see this baby!" And she was so over the moon, like, "I want to see her baby." And I was like, "All right, let me see if they can come because she just had the baby. Relax." So it seemed like the Angelique I had knew before would have been over the moon. Like we're having company, right? It was like, oh my God, yeah, of course, no problem. But it was like, well, and how long are y'all planning on staying? And well, when are you coming? I was just like, for real? Like, oh, okay. Yeah. We don't have to stay very long, you know what I'm saying? But my mom, she hasn't seen the baby yet. She just wanted to see the baby. So it's just like you said, the moment we got there, it was like, he didn't care that was like my mom or someone who had knew Angelique when she was, a young teenager. There was no like, let me make you feel welcome. Let me go out of my way to offer you something. Let me do that. I mean, he looked at my mom like, whatever. Like there was none of that where you would want to stay, right? That where you would want to. And me, I'm like, I don't care. Like whatever, it's whatever. Like I don't care. Like, what's up, girl? What we doing? What you breaking out to eat? I'm hungry. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it was like that didn't bother me because I've been around standoffish people, so you're not finna make me feel bad. I don't care if you don't like me or not. I'm not here for you anyway. How about that? I'm not here for you anyway. So I came to see the baby and my girl. So you could go to the room and do the studio and do
whatever you want to do.
So yeah, I didn't care. But that was the one thing my mom was like, he is so rude. Like, what is his problem? And I was like, that's just, I guess at that point, I had got so used to just the standoffishness that I guess instead of it being a flag like it should have been, I just thought, well, he's just a jerk. Like he's just a jerk and he's just not nice. Because some people are just genuinely not nice, not abusive, but just not friendly. And so I put him in that category. Well, he's just not a friendly dude. You know what I'm saying? And so I didn't think of it like how you guys are saying. He
was slamming doors.
Yeah, it was a malicious intent.
She's right. She's right. She's right.
But he was slamming doors over there.
Yeah,
she's right. Listen, I'm gonna do a quick little teaching moment here because, and I hope everybody's up to speed. First of all, thank you to everybody who's watching because this is like it is a lot. It is a lot, but somewhere in here, I just pray that there is a little nugget. These are my girls, like these are the women in my life who have made a difference, who have helped me grow, who have stopped me from making stupid decisions. Obviously, we missed out on this one right here, but that's all right. But they've had me, led me in the right direction, helped me choose things, everything from, how to dress for an interview, Veronica, how to dress for an interview, to, what circles to run in, to what the latest, okay, I'm not a hair person. I got Rashida and Tanara to help me out. Like I don't do that. Renata was right there. Everything that you could think of, these kinds of conversations have happened with these ladies. But you know what happens when you meet someone, and if you are honest with yourself, when you meet someone who is first unhealthy and then it becomes abusive, their whole goal is to get you by yourself. I was already by myself because I moved from Chicago to Charlotte, so I didn't have any family here, and perfect candidate. I hate saying that way, but perfect candidate. So then if they can further isolate you to the point where my own house, let me just call that out for a second. My house that I bought as a single woman in 2009, my house became a place where I myself was no longer comfortable in, where I couldn't invite the people who love me into. So pay attention. If you are watching, you're looking for patterns. Abuse is a pattern. Watch the patterns. And that is one of them. Isolation is a key pattern for an abuser. All right. So that's my little teaching. I'll come back to it. Okay. This is kind of about you ladies. You've said a lot. And I always say that abuse doesn't happen to the victim. Like, it doesn't only happen to the victim. It also takes a toll on people like you, the people that love deeply. So whether it was during my abuse, like literally when I was in my marriage, or after I broke free, from your perspective, what was the most difficult aspect of my situation for you? What was the most difficult aspect for you? It doesn't matter whoever wants to go first. If you guys, who wants to answer that one?
I'll go first. It was seeing the results on Sweetie Face.
Yeah.
For me, none of us were physically there. Sarita was there, right? Sarita was closer than the rest of us, so I know she jumped in and helped. But seeing some of the changes that happened with Sweetie Face, and I call her Sweetie Face, so I don't want to tell, I'm not going to say her name, but just seeing the effect of how your change had on her is what probably had me on my knees the most. And that's probably still what we talk about the most, is how is your journey still affecting her, right? And so to see that and to know how much you love this child, like she is, like you love her, but to see, and sometimes to see the behaviors that I see, sometimes I see things that I'm like, that's that him. I hear in my little 8-year-old, like I'm gonna need to pull that on back. I need to unprogram some stuff. And so that's still the hardest part, is to see how she saw things and heard things and says things. And she has a wonderful memory, and she's amazingly intelligent. And she will say some stuff sometime, and it's like, I'm like, okay, come here, sweetie face, let's talk about this. See that? And she's not saying it to me. She's reliving things sometimes. You can tell it plays in her mind sometimes. So to see that and to know, again, she's got this wonderful community and more around her, but to have seen the years of that, that's what I regret. That's the thing that scars me the most.
I just want to say that was tough for me. It is, because you can imagine in my head, I'm like, gosh, people always say once they put their hands on you the first time, it's going to happen again. It doesn't stop from there. It only continues. And so I think, gosh, it happened when she was less than 2. Why didn't I move then? Why didn't I jump then? As I like to say to people, it's time to jump. Why didn't I jump then? And I mean, it was by the time she was 4. So I guess I did it when I could, or I don't know how to explain that, but I do. No, I'm not. I'm just saying, like, I think about that. The sooner you can pull a child out of an abusive situation, the better, and pull yourself out. So anyway, I'm just kind of talking out loud through my feelings a little, but yeah, there's definitely times when I'm thinking, gosh, if I just would have, gave up the dream and stopped trying to be like, well, I know how he was before, and that person's going to come back, and we're just having a situation, or pray through it and stay through it and fast through it and go to counseling and all the stuff that you're supposed to do, because you learn that as a Christian woman, that's what you do. Your marriage is your first ministry and all that stuff, right? And those things play in your head, and God, they are true. They are all beautiful things. They are beautiful things in a regular situation. When abuse is present, those things, they're not the same, because the abuser is actually using them against you and using your faithfulness against you. And I'm just talking to whoever is listening, because abuse is a choice, y'all. He didn't happen to just do it by accident and woke up and had no idea what he was doing. It is willful. It is intentional. It is a choice. So if you are on here and you are listening and you got a child watching, you have got to find your way out safely, find your way out of it. And it isn't just the physical, it's all the other stuff these kids see and hear. So anyway, yes, special. Anybody else?
Yeah, I just wanted to, so obviously I hear an echo. Is it mine?
You're fine. Go ahead. We can hear you. Okay.
Obviously there was the years that were lost with you and I, but I think when I think of everything, what hurts me the most is that as I had to play catch up and learn of everything that you endured and everything that you went through, literally at the hands of that individual, what hurts me is I hurt for the fact that you hurt like that. And when I think about all of the stories that, the countless things there's still things to this day that, like, I'll find out, I'll tell you, I'll be listening to a podcast and I'm like, oh my God, I never knew that.
Yeah.
But that hurts me more than the hurt that I felt when I heard him. It wasn't you, that was all him through you. saying all of those hurtful things, about the, godmother stuff and just everything. But that's what hurts me the most. So if, how difficult that situation for you, for me, it was hurting for you. And knowing that this beautiful person that you are endured, nobody deserves this. Nobody deserves this. But this is the selfish me speaking to my sister because you mine, right? And so for me, nobody deserves it, but you darn sure didn't deserve this. You did not deserve this. Nobody does. I think that's what hurts me more. I'm fine, right? You remember when we reconnected, it was like, say no more, stop. And to anybody out there, if you are that situation and you are that person and friend that got pushed away, if you a real friend, there was no explanations needed. Shorty can tell you that. I remember when we reconnected, and it was just
on
like,
Sheena's birthday.
Yeah, it was like, you don't got to say a word. Come here. I love you. And that's it. Like, we don't got to, it ain't about that. I get it, right? That's what hurt me the most. It wasn't me. It was, I hurt knowing that you went through that. And it did. And then the selfish part of me hurt that I couldn't be there. But then I say, and I've said this to you before, God knew what he was doing because I would have been arrested. I would have put my husband in a situation to then have to defend me where my husband probably would have had gotten caught up. Because when mama called me 5:30 in the morning after all them years and said to me, I think Shorty gonna be calling you. I hadn't spoken to you in years. I woke my husband up and said, I think I got to get in a car and drive down North Carolina. It was just that simple. So I think that's what hurts me the most. It hurts me knowing and just continuously learning everything you had to endure. That hurts. That hurts.
Yeah. That was a rough time. Because y'all can imagine, right? It's like you got your best friend, the thing that the awesome threesome, right, was broken, for lack of a better term, right? It was broken. And I knew it's like when I realized what he had done, it was so long. Like it was so long since I had spoken to her. And then I got to the point where it was like, I don't think I can call her. Like I thought she was like so mad at me, like would not take me back. I remember thinking that like she wouldn't even probably take me back right now. And so I mean, that day we all got together. It was Rashida's birthday. So I thank Rashida for this. Y'all listening? Rashida said, I'm going to fix this darn thing one way or another. So I was in Philly. I remember when I was in Philly. It was Rashida's birthday weekend. I said, Sheeta, we got to go to dinner or something. Let's just go out to eat. And she was pretty much like, sure, but under one condition. And I was like, okay. And she's like, we got to invite Tanara. And I was like, I try to play it off like, okay, I mean, that's fine or whatever. So I was trying to act like, well, it don't matter. She can come, her, because we hadn't spoken in so long. And we get to the restaurant and me and Rashida steady talking and Tanara sitting there. And I feel like Tanara was just observing or something. I don't even know, watching everything. I didn't have a ring on. I'm throwing out hints like, yeah, and he ain't this and he ain't that. And eventually Tanara herself goes, okay, hold up, wait a minute. I see you don't have a ring on. You throwing out these hints and saying this and that and the other about what's going on. What's going on? Like, what is going on? What happened? And so right in that moment, we're at like a diner and we start to talk and just what she said. Next thing you know, the tears flowing. We doing the 3-way hug and I love yous and I'm here. And it was like all of that. And then I just remember where I felt like God said, see, baby, it's okay. She's still right here. She's still right here. And that was the beauty of it. And I swear to y'all, when you talk about healing for a victim of domestic violence, when you talk about healing, is this. The pieces that got all broken apart and got lost and thrown away, they have to come back together. And it's this kind of stuff right here. It's that relationship, the reconciliation that has made a huge difference in my healing because that was a deep place for me that was broken. Deep. So I know we way past 8:30. Can y'all stay on? Okay. All right. If anybody got to drop off, I know y'all can. I absolutely would understand. Y'all got families and stuff and husbands and stuff. All right. So anybody else want to make a comment about like that? What was the most difficult aspect of the situation for you?
Of course, I want to comment, but I have to also give credit to Tanara's husband, Mike, because the two of us talked in the background plotting this whole thing. To get us.
I didn't know that. She does.
But of course, it was difficult because now I'm like the person who's talking to you, and I'm talking to Tanara, but all three of us aren't talking.
Yep.
So that was. And then trying to have conversations with Tanara, but not bring you up too much to cause any kind of feeling
awkwardness,
vice versa when I'm talking to you. Being in Tanara's wedding and you weren't there was like, I'm sorry, Tanara had to black her face out on that one. But it was just, I never.
Yep.
That
was rough.
What happened, right?
That was rough. That was rough. I see the pictures, right, y'all? They're beautiful. I wasn't there. Like that don't even make any sense. I wasn't at Tanara's wedding, right? So anyway, go ahead, Sheeta.
But what still haunts me even now, it was kind of difficult. I was thinking if I wanted to speak or not. But being there and talking to you, and Veronica, I think she said it best, where how the devil will have you distracted and just with your own stuff. And this kind of goes with one of the other questions, where something that I've learned even talking to you coming out of this is being able to identify that I was experiencing some forms of abuse. Mm-hmm. And I didn't see it with you because the same way that you were trying to work to be such a good wife, we were going through it at the same time. So I was blind because I was going through it at the same time, trying to work so hard to obtain this carrot that I could never obtain. So while you're trying to obtain the carrot, and I'm trying to obtain the carrot, it seemed like the right thing to do at the time.
Yep.
And even to all the listeners, I remember Shorty and I, when we were talking, and one day she decided to share, and she sent me a text with a link, and it was talking about different forms of abuse. And I didn't even want to open the link because I didn't want to read the questionnaire to see if there was a certain scale that I would reach to identify that, yes, I've gone through it as well. And it took, I still struggle. With it.
Yes.
I still struggle with the reality of I think out of the three of us, I've always been the one to try to look at the cup half full and always try to look at the best in people, and life is a blessing.
Yeah.
That can also be a curse at the same time. So even as we talk, I know I'm quiet, but I just wish I would have paid attention. And I just wish I would have paid attention.
Sheeta, I'm so proud of you right now. That was, I know y'all.
People don't get that.
That was huge.
Yes, this right huge. Here. So this is the perfect example of how powerful this podcast is, Shorty. And this is the perfect example, but y'all don't know. There's a lot while I'm sitting here crying hard while Shorty's crying. we know the story about what's going on with Rashida, but Rashida just shared something. This was just a moment. Something just now happened. And I think what gave her the power to do that and to be this vulnerable in this outlet about that is because of your strength, Shorty.
Mm.
And because you have become so vulnerable and open with what has happened to you, that's a ministry. This is ministry that's happening right now. I'm like ready to get in my car and come over there. But because this is the purpose of this podcast. This is what this is about. This is what this is about.
It is. Listen, I tell y'all all the time, like, I know I say I'm a survivor of domestic violence, and that's a status, I guess, or a reality. But one of the things I always say is I'm an advocate of freedom and truth. I am an advocate of freedom and truth. And Rashida, what you just displayed right now, ooh, that alone is a level of freedom. I don't think I ever would have expected that. And the beauty in that, oh my gosh, let me just say my heart to you, Rashida. I know that day it was hard to even like receive what I was trying to say. Like, I think you too, just in a different way, but I think you too. And I was probably pushing the envelope because at that point it was like a fire burning in me, and I felt like I had to save the world. And I got to tell everybody, like, don't date people like this. Don't do these things. Stay away from these kind of people. And I got to tell you too, like, don't do it. You got to see it. Do you see it? I didn't see it. You got to see it. That was me. I wanted everybody to see it. And I still at this moment want everybody to see it, because you got to see the little nuggets of abuse and unhealthy relationships so you don't get to the big stuff. But I am proud of you.
And so
I'm proud of you.
So is your mom. Shorty, look at the comments.
I can't see it all the time.
I couldn't see
Hold
it
on,
either.
I'm gonna find it.
Okay,
here we go. Here we go. Ah, yes, God. Listen, that's victory right there. These tears gonna flow all night, and I don't care because there is victory. There is victory at every single minute of this episode. I love y'all, man. I love y'all. Cheetah. And you know, if it's an artist, she's going to just jump in her car, come over. You know, that's a whole big other thing, right? Insider. Insider. Okay. I want to make sure I get to some important stuff. And so, go ahead, Renata.
So, mine is twofold.
Yeah.
So, my first hurt was just knowing that you and, just by, her being a part of it, your baby had to go through that. And just, I'm a details person and I tend to overthink just my thought process of potentially what she has witnessed and how that would affect her. But like I told everybody just from the beginning, having known you to be this powerful woman and how that step back, you stepped back for that from a while. You have since come back forward. But, some of our conversations just during the process of you going, and I think part of this, one of the next questions, but, you going through the process of trying to heal, just those conversations of hearing that, why didn't I sooner, and why didn't I see it, and why did I stay, and all those things, that was very hurtful. And I'm going to be respectful of the guidelines that you asked us to do, but you know what my hot button is.
Oh, absolutely.
What also hurts me, being someone who relies heavily on my faith.
Yes.
And believing the charge that God gives us as believers, that the church is a hospital, and that it is our charge and our responsibility to be a safe haven for those that are sick and those that are hurting and those that are going through. The Bible talks about taking care of our sick and taking care of the orphans and the widows and those that are going through. I believe that those that are called to ministry, it's their responsibility to provide a safe haven. And I'm not going to be ugly about it, but that individual's family is very heavily involved in ministry. And I'm very heavily involved in ministry. And I take my calling very, very seriously. And the fact that this individual is a repeat offender and that they were okay with sitting with you and knowing that he had done this several times, and they were okay with letting you sit at their table and sup with you and spend time with you. And then even after they allowed you to do that and counsel you, and then after it happened, you went to them to get safe haven and did not help, I find that despicable.
Mm. Mm.
I find that unexcusable. And I pray, when I think about that, I pray heavily for God to deal with me about that, because I don't pray good things.
Mm.
And I struggle with that, because how can you say that God gives you words to give to the people, to preach and teach and pour into people, but he didn't convict you in a way to protect somebody that is being abused?
Especially when they told you.
And I'm not being ugly about it. Yeah. But that's also something that has to be addressed in a respectful way. And I take huge issue with that you say that God called you. You say that God called you. I'm not saying nothing about title, but you say that God called you. And God convicts me when I'm ugly. God convicts me. And so for you to be a family of faith, and yes, I'm using quotations because I question that when you have somebody that's putting their hands on an individual. And I say individual because men and women abuse people. When you have somebody that's manipulating somebody verbally, and then they're manipulating people and abusing them financially, and you're okay with it, and then you have the audacity to wait until all is said and done, and then now you want to actually take a stance against violence domestically afterwards. That disgusts me to the very core of my soul. And I hope I didn't go against your guidelines, but it had to be said. I have a problem with that. I have a problem with that because at the end of the day, God called me to speak truth to his people. And if God called me and he convicts me, and the same God that called me called you, and you're okay with knowing that someone in your family hurts people that way, that hurts me.
I always tell people
I have a problem with that.
I always tell people this is a hard place for me, this piece right here. So I don't.
And it goes beyond church hurt. That's not church hurt. That's church abuse. Church exploitation. And that's something that will stand before God and be judged and found lacking in. I'm going to mute myself.
Okay. Listen, this is I always tell people it's a hard place for me. I don't talk much about it at all because I don't know where to go with it yet. And I guess until God clarifies my voice on that piece, I just don't. Because I don't have a place for it yet, to be quite honest. I always tell people, like, I find places for things. Like, I find okay, so that's in the package. I package my feelings sometimes. That's over here in a spot, and that's over here in a spot, and I can digest it in pieces. And I don't have a space for that yet. And so that is something that I still need counseling on. That's just me being honest. And so
My issue with that is that they took the time to address it after the fact, after they allowed it to go on for so long. Had you stepped out of it, thank you. It's the hypocrisy for me. It's the hypocrisy for me, and that they've never taken the time to come back and address the fact that they allow, because we as Black women are already not safe. Let's just be real. We're already not safe. But this isn't just a Black thing, but I'm saying we're already not safe. But God convicts me on me every day. And I don't have a congregation. I don't have a following. It's just me. But when people are placed in the safety of your hand, to guide, to lead, to nurture, but then you have somebody come into your fold and you know that type of information and you don't allow them to know, and then for you to look at somebody's face and make a big, oh, if something happens, you let me know. We got you, sis. We're protecting you. Yeah. We got your back. And then when they do that, and then on top of that, a child is involved to see what's being done, I'm sorry. That's vile and tasteless in the very pit of my stomach. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah. That hurts me.
Don't be sorry.
That hurts me. And from the second you asked me to be on here, I've been praying about that. And that part about that, when you have family members that know that these individuals are hurting people and they don't warn people, they don't warn them to let them know for real, you came into this blind. You came into there's a section of where were your friends? Where was the family that knew? Where was the family that knew?
But see, you're not even just talking about. See, but here's the thing: it's not just that they knew. It's not just that they were quiet. They were corroborators. They were complicit.
That's the word.
Complicit. So we're not going to say names. We're not going to say titles. But there is a reckoning, and it needs to come, and it will come. It will come on their doorstep. A multitude of doorsteps, because we're not talking about just one household. We're talking about a whole family. We're talking about lineage. Yes. So and I know you don't have a place for this yet, special, but you know this hits a hot button for me from a whole other standpoint. But the way that people hide behind church when they're not doing right, in whatever relationship they're in, there will be a reckoning, whether you are at the top or you're the doorkeeper. If you propel yourself to be a person of the Lord, but yet you're not doing right, because in 2 Timothy it says you got to be the man of the house or the priest over your own house before you do anything else. So that's a whole other thing. But for now, that's probably a whole other conversation.
It's a lot for me.
It wasn't that they just knew. It wasn't that they just knew. It wasn't that you shouldn't have opened your mouth to say, let me counsel, let me partake, unless you were going to say, go away. Right. So if you weren't going to stop it, you should have just sat down.
Yeah.
And can I just say this? Oh God, Renata, Veronica, thank you. Shorty and I talk about this a lot. And Shorty, this was meant to be. I hope this is a scratching of the surface to expose some stuff that need to get exposed. And I too know the rules that were set for this. And I'm just going to say one thing about hypocrisy, because you remember I was ready to get in my car and come down to their domestic violence event.
Mm-hmm. I remember.
Yeah, I was going to get in my car and come blow the whole spot up.
Yeah.
That's why she didn't tell me about it, because it wasn't no I was going. I would have been there.
So again, exactly. So it's the hypocrisy, because you know what, and this can go a whole nother place. It is stuff like this that drives weak people. It drives people away from God. It drives people away from the church. It drives people away because people get hurt by this, right? People get hurt. You got people that look at these ministers and these preachers and these churches, and they're like, yo, this is where I'm getting my saving from. God is speaking through this person. This is the vessel that God is sending to save me and give me some wisdom. But then when you find out stuff like this, it's hypocrisy. Somebody put it in hypocrisy. And so now what? We get a win that you're putting some stuff out there. So now we want to step up and we want to have a platform to speak for domestic violence.
Where were you?
How about y'all speak for what y'all have been, like you said, conspiring with, right? The silence is worse than you being an active participant. The fact that they sit back quiet, but they want to be a holy over style as me, right? I thank you for saying it. I love you, Renata, for saying that. And you said it so, like Rashida said about not putting the words, you said that, cut it real smooth. Yep. You cut it smooth. And I thank you and I love you for putting that out there. And Shorty, I hope with what she's seeing and what Veronica has kind of chimed into, I am praying that this gives you the power that you need and to get the platform to really hit this piece where it needs to be hit. Because people are responsible. There's responsibility that comes along with that when you say I have been called. There's a responsibility. And you can't be out in these streets reckless, abusing that. You can't abuse that in the name of Jesus. You can't. You can't. It's hypocrisy. Exactly. It's hypocrisy. Now I'm getting mad. I'm gonna be quiet and I'm gonna go back on mute.
Because no, it's a point. It's a point to be mad.
Because this was a big part of it.
It was a big part. It gave it. I feel like the family gave it legitimacy, right? So without the family backing you, without the family corroborating or standing with you, your story wouldn't have been as good. It wouldn't have been, because you knew she was coming from a faith background. You knew she was trying to move her life in a certain direction. You knew that these were her core values. These things were very important and relevant to her. So without your family in the background painting this facade, making you appear to be something that in actuality you were not. They gave you legitimacy. They helped build up who that she thought you were. So they're just as guilty. They might not like that, but you're just as guilty. That's why when it said, oh, woe, when the hammer comes down to everybody who was around, you knew what you did. You knew what happened with the one before and the one before. And that this is not the first time people wake up. This whole, oh no, but he changed. Yeah, right. Like, come on now.
Thank you for saying that.
Huh?
Thank you for saying that, oh no, he changed, or I thought he changed, because the person that I'm mad at the most is the middleman or the middle woman who keeps going back and forth and trying to even things out, because I feel like she is the wolf in sheep's clothing, keeping the mediator between both groups, even now, trying to smooth things over to make sure she's good. Oh, you good? You're not gonna blow the spot up? Oh, how you feeling about this? Oh, okay. Well, let me just smooth things over. Let me make sure you know this is what happened or this is what's going on in the background. I'm just trying to make sure that I don't say too much right now, but trust me, it's going to be addressed. That's the one I got a problem with the most.
I feel you, Rashid. I thought the same thing, because I was like, why they always got to say something to try to be the mediator? Like, wrong is wrong. You don't even need to go to church sometimes. When it's wrong, it's wrong. Like, I don't need to be in the pulpit to tell you what you're doing is foul. Like, you're living foul. Your whole family's foul. Your spouse, foul. Okay? Stop marrying people that's out here being dirty and grimy and horrible to other people. Stop marrying them. Like, you need to get your mind right. And you are just trying to play the mediator, acting like everything is cool when it's not. Like, because you don't want that attention to be brought onto y'all, because you're supposed to be these elite, the whatever, like you don't want nobody to know. But like I think someone said, it's not just y'all, this is generational, this is lineage stuff that nobody wants to address, and y'all just hurting people and not even caring. Like, and then that's why I said the hypocrisy. And then you're going to try to do an event, but when the person was suffering, where was you? Like, so, where was you?
Let me say this real quick. And this is, I mean, I'm whew, this is a lot, right? These are the conversations that I have within myself. I have with some of you, and it's not it's hard for me, y'all. It's hard for me. And I appreciate y'all voices on it, because I don't have the words for it yet, right? I just don't. I know what I feel but I don't have the words for it. And so, yeah, this is hard for me. It's real hard for me because I can think of, and this is just me talking, I can think of where I felt like I was being helped, and I can think of where I felt like I wasn't. So everything y'all saying it's true. Everything you're saying is right. It's just hard for me. And I think it's hard for me too because, gosh, you just think that your walk, nobody's perfect. None of us on here are perfect, right? We all know that. We've all done stuff we shouldn't have done. We all had to pray and ask God for forgiveness. Ain't not a soul on here perfect. But I do have that pain, and it is still deep for me. And I almost hate to even say it or admit it because I want to say it doesn't matter. I want to tell myself it doesn't matter. But it does. It still does bother me. And there was a lady on one of my other episodes. She's a therapist, and I am going to seek more assistance because I still need it for this part. I do. So I love y'all for breaking the subject.
One thing about what was it? Everybody was talking about the thing that we were.
Shoot, it's 9 o'clock. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry. Mine is real quick. I was upset because I was here.
Yeah.
And it still happened. Like that I didn't. There was times where I felt like I didn't do enough, and then there was a point where I couldn't do any more.
You felt overwhelmed.
I got overwhelmed. Because it wasn't just me. It was like now my husband's getting involved, and now we're going to confront, not family members per se, but we're now in situations where the family's involved and everything. And so it was like being here, like the location was like you're here, but you still can't do, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like you're physically there, so you can kind of help, but then you still can't because you can only do so much when you have your own family obligations and everything else. And it's like you want to be there and you want to help and you want to be able to drop everything, but you just can't. Like you literally can't. And that's like such a hard place to be when you care for somebody. And it's just like, oh my God, like it just sucked.
I was
you kind of
calling,
feel like you're not a good friend.
No, and listen, y'all, real quick. I was calling Sarita for everything. Like it was like, can I don't know if I say his name. Can your husband, can he come and meet me here? Can he come to the house when this is about to happen? Can he, and it was like, it was a lot. And Sarita, can you do this and can you do that? It was a lot, y'all. It really, really was. So, it was difficult. I don't know who that is y'all referring to.
So can I say something, Shorty?
Yes.
I know every time you do your podcast, you always so eloquently speak about how, it take you pray at the beginning of these things, right? Yep. Because a lot is being poured out, and I think a lot has been poured out here today. It's your birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is your birthday.
It is.
And so I don't know how much longer. I don't think we're not going to
come to
energy. We're not going to give any energy to stuff that doesn't deserve to get energy. Yeah. What I want to say is this. I think that we should, if we can, do what you always say. It's time to pour it. It's time to fill back up.
Yes, because I need it.
I would love to do something. That last
part was heavy for me.
It was heavy for you. So I think I want to fill you back up right now. It is your birthday. I know you mentioned coming to a close soon on this here thing.
Yeah.
And we done cry. We done kiki. We done laugh. We done reminisce. But I think the beauty in this, and I want to say this, today is your born day. The day is the day that God blessed us with this queen, Angelique Jacqueline.
And you can't get it right. It's French. Say Francais. Angelique.
You forgot Monet.
I was going to say Monet. Jacqueline. So that's who you met, Sarita. That's who you met, right? She gave you the Angelique. I think it's time to pour back into Angelique, aka Shorty, because that's what we call you.
AKA Special, AKA Leak.
AKA Leak. Let's pour back into you. And what I'm gonna say to you, Shorty, it's time to fill you back up. You are ordained to be who God made you to be, and that is a force to be reckoned with. And if anybody out there listening, you know how they say, I ain't want to be quoting the word, no weapon formed against me, no weapon formed against this friendship is going to prosper. No weapon formed against any kind of evil meant to destroy you is going to prosper. Because guess what? Look where we at right now. That's all I'm going to say. As the kids would say. Okay. I'm here, dog. I ain't going nowhere. So happy birthday to you, my love bug. You are beautiful. I am loving your natural hair is phenomenal. You are a phenomenal woman in all of your glory. Continue to walk and keep that head up high with all of the excellence that you are, that exudes and excretes from your pores. Okay, you whisper, you breathe excellence. Don't let anybody ever take that from you. I am so happy to see that smile. That's what I wanted.
She's still talking about me. She's still talking about
you. That beautiful smile that is on your face today. This is the victory that you have come out of this thing. And on your birthday, you are sitting here today smiling. You're safe. You're here. You're out of that. I love you. Happy 44th birthday, baby girl. And I'm going to be quiet and let somebody else get the phone.
Tanara, you so crazy. You're crazy, girl.
Well, Shorty, I'll just say I'm proud of you. You was a boss since day one, and you still a boss. That ain't changed. That ain't changed. I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of your voice. I'm proud of you just speaking out and advocating. And those hard times and hard situations, as Tanara said, like, it calls for you to be on this platform, for you to speak out, to share, to tell your experiences, your testimony, and other people are healed as a result, i.e. me too. So thank you.
Oh my God. I love you. I love you. Tanara, tell you I love you. I do.
I love you too. I know you love me, girl. I love you back. I love you too, Sheeta Bear.
I love you too.
I have so much to say. I know we're coming to a close, but y'all say something. I got a bunch of stuff to say. Gosh, so much to say. Anybody else?
All right, so I'll go quick. It's been a journey, right? It's been a journey. Like I said, Angelique and I have pledged twice to organizations, and Serena in one of those organizations. How about that? There is, and I will say this, outside of Tanara and Rashida, who've known you since like the dirt, playing in the dirt, catch a girl, get a girl, freeze tag.
Catch a girl, get a girl. We didn't play that.
Yeah, okay. There is
Marma might be listening.
Okay, Marma, we sorry. There is not a person that I met at Penn State that I just believe in more than Angelique. And I've met a whole bunch of family members. I done married one of them fools and divorced them. But there is not a person who could take such a horrendous, heinous, hurtful, private. Because how many people suffer in silence and be like, it ain't happened to me. I don't know what you're talking about. She took it and made something beautiful. She took it like the phoenix that's rising from the ashes, and like God, she literally let God break her. She was gracefully broken, and now He is building her back up. But no matter what she puts her hands to, y'all don't know how much she puts into podcasts and the business, and she done started 75 other companies. I don't know when she sleeps, but what I have to say about my special is she truly is. There is not a better title that we could have connected upon in Delta, because she is truly special. She is amazing. She is articulate. She is that person where I'm like, if you don't know, let me call my special. She'll figure it out. Hold on, let me call my special. So I will tell you, happy birthday. I'm just so happy to see that smile back on your face. I'm happy to see you and Tanara back together. I don't know if y'all know how much I was mad at her about you and Tanara. Like, we got into it. Because I was like, I don't understand. I just don't understand. But just to see you three back together,
beautiful.
Is and Angelique put something in our group. We have a group me chat for something else, and she was like we're like sisters. She's like my daughter. It's like she is just this person who has come into my life and has taken up space that only she could fulfill, and she does such an amazing job with it. She is now mentoring my daughter. She talks to my son. Like, she is that person where even through all of that, she's like that diamond that no matter how much pressure is applied, she is like blinging, perfect imperfection, that diamond. And so special. I am honored, and I tell you this all the time. I am honored to watch your trajectory through life. And I've been telling you this since 92. I am honored to watch your trajectory through life and that I get to be a part of it.
Yes. Yes. Oh my God, special. I don't know if y'all know how phenomenal Veronica is. So when these kind of compliments come across the screen from this woman, where you can't tell her what she can't do because she's going to do it, these kind of compliments are just like, special. I love you. You are my
Iron,
special for a reason.
iron sharpens iron. This is the perfect example of iron sharpening iron.
Mm.
Yes.
Love it, Veronica. I'll piggyback off Veronica.
Hold on, Nana, real
Veronica.
quick. Let me say something
Go ahead,
real quick to Veronica. She will never tell this. She will never. Y'all listen to me. She will never say this publicly, ever. But I felt like a point in my story, I was like at the bottoms, right? Like I was back on Price Street in Philly almost, right? Struggling. Couldn't even keep the lights on, right? The water had gotten cut off at one point. Who does that at that age? And my special said, I don't know how else to help you, but I do know this. When I was going through stuff, what I needed was money, right? I'm special. She'll never tell the story. She said she had prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed. And God told her to tithe, to give her tithe to me. For an entire year, are y'all listening to me? An entire year, my broke, struggling self, trying to figure out how to take care of me and Moo, my broke self, she gave us $400 a month to make sure we stay afloat. Because she said, if I can't do anything else, what I won't let you do is fall. What I won't let you do is crumble. And I'm going to do my part. And so I need to say thank you publicly. Thank you. Because some people be like, oh, it's just money. No, I don't think you understand. That money, $400 a month for an entire year that you could have spent on anything else, you gave it to me for me to take care of us and for us to be all right. And that is a level of love and sacrifice when you had your own family that I don't even know where that comes from but God. So I love you to pieces and back. Sarita.
Oh, that was Veronica is so sweet. I used to always think Veronica was so hardcore. And then the more I got no, seriously.
It's a front. No kidding.
Yeah, she would always strike me as like, don't mess with Veronica. Like she seemed real sweet, but she might cut you like on the low. And that's why I laugh, because Veronica, I didn't even know you remember we pledged QE. That's why when you said that, I'm like, wait, oh, she talking about QE. Yeah, I'm like, I forgot about that. Yes. But I was telling Angelique the other day, the one thing I've always admired about her is even in college, like we're all, silly youngsters, but she always had this air, I told her, of like regalness. It was so weird to me. Like, you carry yourself so regally. Like, where did you learn that? You know what I'm saying? Like, because it's so effortless. Like, it doesn't seem like it's something you feign or you pretend to do. It's just literally like who you are. Like, it's just, and it's never like an uppity thing. Like, I think I'm better than you. It's not like that at all. But it's just like something that just comes out, and it's so funny to watch, because I don't even think she realizes it. Like, just, like with the Angelique thing, like I joke on her with that, but it was so past how I want you to say my name correctly. It's just like you just strive for excellence. You strive for excellence, and you almost like bring other people up with you. Like, if this is my core group, I want us all to be excellent. Like, it was never like a competition where you sometimes feel that with other females. Like, it was never like that. It was never like I'm winning, but I don't want want you to be winning. It's never like that. It's like, I'm winning, you winning, we winning, she winning, we all winning. And it's so genuine. Like, it's so genuine. And I'm so thankful because I think as women, sometimes we need to cultivate more relationships like that, because sometimes, you know, we have the notion of being very petty and very catty. And so when you see things like this, and I agree, I'm so happy the three amigos are back together, because y'all are so stinking cute. And I remember at Leek's wedding, y'all were so beautiful. It was just so beautiful to see that. And when that relationship did crumble, Tanara, she might not have said nothing to you, but I know she talked to you, Sheeta. She would say stuff to me. It ate her up that y'all were not cool. It ate her up. And I think she was so scared that she had pushed you beyond the point of reconciliation. And I remember when I talked to her when she came back from Philly, and I heard about it, and I'm like, oh my God, y'all is cool.
At Tanara's house.
Yeah, I was so happy for you guys.
I was so hyped.
Yeah, she was so hyped. I mean, and that's what you want. Like, that's what, because I remember having conversations like, but that's your homie. Like, y'all go back since like elementary school. Like, you can't let it end like that. And so to see you guys come full circle is such a beautiful thing. And Rashida being a peacemaker and a mediator, I know it had to be so tough on you, girl. So good job for hanging in there, Rashida. I know that had to be hard. But I'm just thankful, so thankful for being able to be on this journey with you, meeting you in college, which was so crazy. We're not going to talk about it, but you were just such a bright spot for me in college. I had a lot of issues, and you were a very bright spot for me, and you helped me through so much. And I'm so thankful to God that He allowed you to be in my life. And I'm just excited to see you speak about something like I think Veronica said. Most people wouldn't want to talk about this, but you are. You're not only talking about it, you're advocating for other people to be free from it. And that's so empowering, because sometimes we get so scared and so embarrassed and so ashamed of what we went through that we feel like, who are we to talk about this? Who cares about my story? But people care. And I think it gives people the opportunity to tell their truths, to be vulnerable, which is something we all need. You know what I mean? I mean, I think I struggled so long with mental health, and I was so ashamed to tell people, like, yeah, I have mental health. You know, it's something I battle, because there's a stigma with everything. Everything has a stupid stigma. But when you are around a group of people and they can accept you and love you for who you are, no matter what you go through, they in your corner cheering for you. Like, that's beautiful. And that's what all I saw tonight was a bunch of cheerleaders. Like, you got this, you can do this. And that's wonderful. Happy birthday, Nana.
Hey! And you know what else I realized on here? I mean, I know it, but it just on this particular show is like being friends and calling someone a friend and a sister is also about being a mirror to that person, because you can't always see yourself. And so as much as it was hard to hear these things, some of it, and some of the stories I didn't even remember, or I was like, oh my God, I forgot about that. I can't believe I was that person in that moment. But y'all, my mirror. And guess what? That's okay. That's okay for us to remind each other that we're not always at our best every day. We're not always a 10. Sometimes we're a 5, and our girls got to be like, hey, no, sweet pea, you need to fix the lipstick ain't working for you, right? Whatever it is. In this case, that man ain't working for you. And we have to be okay with saying, well, why'd you say that? And daggone it, listen, because we can't always see ourselves. We don't always see what's really going on, because we might want something so bad or believe for some reason that something is for us, and it really isn't. And it's a trap that was set that you can't even see coming. So I don't know if somebody else wants to say something, but I want to say something to y'all, beautiful women.
So, you know me, I'm big on birthday blessings. Nothing has changed. So, first of all, I just want to thank you, because you guys, when I got married, Angelique came all the way to Little Kings Mountain. And not only did she come and slay at my wedding, and I did not mind that, but y'all, she helped break down stuff afterwards and everything. Like, she really was there there for me, and I appreciate that. But then even when I got ordained this year, she came down. But Psalms 131, I want to do what the church is supposed to do, which is speak life over you.
All right, let me get this off the screen. Hold on, we're gonna do that.
So
Okay, go.
139, Psalms 139, 14 and 15 says, I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made.
Mm.
And that's what you are. Your works are wonderful, and I know that full well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in the secret place and when I was woven together in the depths of the earth. So even with everything that you've been through, God was there.
Mm.
And I know a lot of times when we go through things, the enemy would have us believe that we're so covered by our past mistakes and the things that we go through that even God can't see us. And it's been a lot of dark times, and we went through a lot of emotional things. And I don't cry, but I don't mind crying for you because I love you that much. I'm so excited for what God is doing in your life in this moment. And I told you that when you began this journey, that this was ministry. And on tonight, it's been proof positive because somebody that you hold so clear and dear to your heart was able to begin their journey and being honest of what they're going through. So God blessed you doubly tonight
Oof.
because your friends were here, but not only were they here to speak your truth with you, but they were able to even be vulnerable enough to share. So he doubly blessed you tonight. So
Yes.
that
Yes.
40-40 was just a foretaste of what he's beginning to do in your life. I want you, if you're not already doing it, get on the ball about writing your books, not book, but your books.
Ooh.
Because there are people that are attached to you that are waiting on you,
Mm.
that are waiting on you because they need somebody to be vulnerable. The reason why sometimes we don't understand why we go through what we go through. But the reason why he could trust you with this journey is because he knew that you would be strong enough to share it. There are some people that are going through this that they will get out of this, but they won't be strong enough to share it.
Mm.
They'll get out of it and they'll go on about their life, but they won't be bold enough. They won't be courageous enough to share it. And you have a group of great women, and I'm so honored that you allowed me to be on this panel with these absolutely awesome women. But he allowed you to have women that stand alongside you. They've seen you through many, many seasons of your life. And they know you in a way that they can hold your arms up. Just as Moses was, he had Aaron, he had them people hold his arms up. You have some strong and awesome women that'll stand with you and hold you up. So the times that you forget your awesomeness and your strength, they are
Mm.
there to hold you up. Just like he allowed you to see that there was nothing that you could do to tear down the many, many years with Tanara, that she still was willing to embrace you, even in your moments where you wonder why. God has you. He has you. He thought enough of you on tonight. The number 5 means grace. He has graced you for this journey. He's graced you for this
Mm.
journey. And the grace that's on your life is going to open up the minds and the hearts of women all over the world to be released from the very hell that they are in. So begin to write those books, begin to write out your business plans, begin to write out the empowerment opportunities to begin to speak to women all over the world of what you've been through. Don't stop beating yourself up in your private time of the choices
Mm.
that you made because you've gotten out of them. You've
Mm.
gotten out of them. So I declare to you on your birthday today that you are healing, that you are thriving. Everything that you are lost, God is going to return back to you 1,000-fold.
I
A
can't stand with you, Renata.
thousandfold. No financial loss, no loss of sleep, no doubt, no anything that you have been through, everything that the enemy done, he gonna have to pay for. He
Mm.
is going to have to pay for any
Mm.
words that people have put on your life. They are going to have to pay for. I love you from the very top curl all the way to the bottom of your feet.
I can't
And I'm,
stand you right now.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited for what God is doing in your life and the lives of those that are connected to you.
Oh
And
my
that
God.
smile of yours is just going to continue to shine brighter. Why? Because you are surviving. And not only are you surviving, you are thriving. You're not a victim, but you are a victor. You're not a victim, you are a victor.
Mm,
Write the books, write the
mm,
vision, and make it plain so that they
mm,
may run.
mm.
They may run. They'll be able to read what you have been through. This has only been a test for the testimony of what God has done in your life. And I'm so excited. And thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of your journey.
Ooh,
Honor, and I wish you blessings on your birthday and for many, many more. I love you.
I love you too. Oh my God. What I have nothing to say. Nothing to say. I guess there's a closing required, right, of some type, but I don't even want to say anything after that.
I got something to say.
Okay.
Hey, I don't know how good quality it is, but Stevie has something to
She
say.
got to play as her ear pods. What?
Can you actually hear this?
We can hear it.
Look, the word done been preached. We need a benediction. Is this hypocrisy to have Stephen come on after the word?
No, Stevie is blessed. Stevie is blessed.
Look what Nicole wrote. I know I can count on Sonara.
All crazy. Hey, Nicole, I'm all crazy. I'm all crazy.
I love it.
Happy
Listen,
birthday.
I am so blessed. I am so grateful. Keep playing it, Sonara. Let me keep playing. I am just overjoyed. I've been telling everybody all day, I have been beaming from the inside out. And I just feel it all. I am so grateful to all of you. This 2.5 hours has been a journey. It's my birthday!
Happy birthday to you. Total finesse.
Hey, look, I got snake it out, snake it. Hey, snake it back now. Snake it back. Wait a minute. Wait, what's that? Y'all crazy. I love y'all so much. Listen, this has been amazing. I couldn't have scripted this thing. It just went where it was supposed to go because God has this way of doing things. He just does what he does because he knows how to do what he do. So I love y'all so much. I hear it.
All right, Sabrina, you got to give her a hug from all of us.
Yes,
I give her a big one. Yes.
Give her a big hug.
I got all y'all. I got you.
Wait, y'all got to do wait. In Philly, there's the thumbs up dance. It's always like, come on, y'all know. In Philly, you got to dance the thumbs up.
I think that was your
All right, listen to all my viewers. Oh my God, thank you for joining tonight. The comments, there were so many. I couldn't even get to all of them, but I appreciate y'all so much. This has been an awesome day. This is an awesome journey over the last year. And let me tell y'all something. What they call this chapter 44, it's going to be a page turner, baby, because it's coming. Okay, y'all get ready. This stuff coming over the next year, y'all don't even know anything about. But these ladies have been a part of inspiring it. So get ready. So good night. Wait, go ahead.
Don't give her the hug.
My friends. She really about to come here.
She should come in there.
Yes.
Look at this big old balloon.
That's all y'all.
Thank you.
You're beautiful. All right, everybody. Y'all have been great. Thank y'all so much. I'm probably gonna talk to 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 or 6 of y'all after I get off this call with y'all. So anyway, I love y'all. Tanara, Rashida, Renata, Veronica, Serena, who just left the room. That's so crazy you came here.
That's a pleasure.
It was a pleasure. Kiss my sweetie face for me.
I will. All right, I love y'all. Good night, y'all.
Bye.